Yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry
Okay.
Christmas, and let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree. Hey, by the way, where are you in Oregon?
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the...
It ain't easy and that's why I did it. All this pain and stress reminds me why I'm living. I was a routine babe, but also feel so vivid. No specifics, no description, just so know it ain't easy and that's why I did it. All this pain and stress reminds me why I'm living. I was a routine babe, but also feel so vivid. No specifics, no description, just don't know how to get it. Made a move, I made it bounce. How to get it unannounced, and you only get a couple chances, so I made it count. Speak me with the bullshit, I'ma focus on my sound. Better learn my name in proper way that it's pronounced. Yeah, bitch, I just elevate. Proof is in the product as I demonstrate. Dying in my league as I go up, I watch them relegate. All you bitches, motherfuckers, better get it straight. Yeah, ain't no growth without no grief. I fought a war to find my peace. Life is bleeding, keep it brief.
Welcome everyone to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keane. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, and check us out, www.spreaker.com/user/Best Damn Podcast. Also, check out the bestdampodcast.tv. Follow me, Instagram, Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, The Real Best Damn, and wherever you're watching from, please make sure to subscribe, follow, hit the like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and share. Share it, get it out there. Sharing is caring. And speaking of caring, Merry Christmas to everyone, because I care. So I want to say Merry Christmas to you. And thank you guys. See all the Merry Christmases here in the chat. That's what's up, y'all. Hey, and keep in mind, we're viewer powered. So if you'd like to show me a Merry Christmas, you can donate in the description with the links below. PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, Facebook Messenger Pay. Looks like we have Larry Branham. Merry Christmas, Larry. Lower class citizen who's saying Happy Thanksgiving. I think you're a little late, bro. Donna Cagle. Merry Christmas, Donna. Davey Crockett over on Facebook Live. Brandy Robinson, Nancy Lewis, Mel O, Brian Steidelmeyer. Glad you're on. Save the day. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad I could do that for you, brother. Biblical Smackdown over on D Live. Donna Milligan, Shanipe of the Great White North. Stool Purger, Lauren Caro over on Facebook Live. Know Thyself. Awesome Mandy. Amy VR, Marcus99, Seeking Truth, Patty Statler, Graceful Heart, Jordan Marshall, Carol Dryling, Abandoned, Davis 93309. Merry Christmas to you, Davis, CR user, Tim Hamby, Brian Harris, cool, man, Michael Dan Hardy, Merry Christmas to you, bro, Gwendolyn Morales. That's what's up, guys. I think we about got it. Let's go ahead and jump into this. And I hope everybody's been having a good holiday. See Odette popping in too. Nice to see you as well. I hope everybody's had a good holiday so far. This is one of those holidays, even though it's pagan, and we all know that we're actually celebrating Saturnalia, right? More of that Saturn worship and Nimrod and Mithras and all the other deities and gods that we talk about on this channel all the time that Christianity is kind of plagiarized, and putting it in the story of Jesus. Or some people believe that it's actually the inverse, that it's every other god that's plagiarizing Jesus. So, I guess it depends on your point of view and your perspective, but that's neither here nor there. It's a good time to be able to get with family, and give gifts and all of that stuff, man. I'm one of those people, like, it doesn't matter if it's pagan, it doesn't matter if it's, something that would be looked down upon, by people that profess to be Christian fundamentalist or whatever. It's the spirit for me. And anything that brings people together, family, and brings the best out of people, I think is a good thing. Yeah, there is a side of consumerism and all of that shit, but we're not gonna tear it all apart tonight. It's let's just take the good stuff when we can get it. Maya Love from Michigan, and totally agree on that. Yeah, it is most definitely Saturnalia, Saturn worship. You guys, I've done videos. That's what I used to do. I don't know. Some of you guys will remember. I actually used to have my children help me on Thanksgiving and Christmas because we would do stuff on Saturnalia, but I'm a little hardcore, so it's hard to have them help me do much of anything. Oh, man. And just right on time for Christmas, guys. We got all kinds of good things that are taking place right now. Star Wars, the terrifying future space weapons, rods from God, meteorites, molten metal cannons, and weaponized asteroids. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Tonight we're going to be looking at what's going on geopolitically. There's a lot of things that are developing as far as that goes, as well as, we've got plenty of videos, really cool videos, and things pertaining to the celestial events that are taking place. And tonight we're also going to get into the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ. I know that's kind of a little bit out there for some of you, but the reason I wanted to get into it is because, yes, it is Christmas, Christ Mass, and many people believe it's his birthday today, even though it's not. But, we'll pretend that it is and go in the spirit of that. And we're going to kind of dissect and see, what Jesus was kind of all about and why they needed, the image of a perfect man. And it's just a really cool book. So hang with me and we'll get into that. So first, let's start here. An asteroid the size of a bus will zoom past the Earth next month. 2014 YE-15 will swing by the Earth the first week of 2022. Now, with the start of a new year, people are anxious about any new surprises. Luckily, the first asteroid flyby of the year is a meager bus-sized asteroid that poses little to no threat to Earth except for the chance to marvel at these flying rocks as they make their way close to the sun. Asteroid 2014 YE-15 stretches out about 42 feet. There's that cool number, 42, the final 42 months. That's about the same size as a bus, or twice as tall as a giraffe. And it says here that it's relatively small compared to other asteroids that regularly visit our solar system. Just last month, an asteroid as tall as Dubai's Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, zoomed past Earth. The asteroid will make its closest approach to Earth on January 6th, coming as close as 4,600,000 miles from our planet, about 19 times the distance between Earth and the Moon, which is 239,000 miles. And guys, just make sure to let me know if you can hear me and see me in the chat. That way I'm not, talking for no reason. And you guys see here, there's your orbital diagram right here. What's up, BC? I'm over in Ohio. Nimrod's birthday or winter solstice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the winter solstice. That's usually the main reason that they glorify this day is because of the winter solstice. And you think about it. Christ rising from the dead 3 days later. The 21st is always a solstice. Christmas Eve, 24th, right? I hope you guys, if you guys have never seen it, it's Zeitgeist. I used to have it on my backup channel, but I had to take a lot of the documentaries down. But yeah, Zeitgeist is a good one. It really, really will let you see just how much sun worship plays a role in all of this. So yeah. Howdy Vlogs, Gaming, and Music. You can see and hear me. Thank you, Graceful Heart. I appreciate that. We're also going to be looking at quite a few different things, but where's it at here? It's this new Netflix series. Fact check. This viral image is not of an asteroid that passed Earth in December. A photograph of a green streak of light in the night sky over mountains has gone viral, with the claim that it is an asteroid that narrowly avoided colliding with the Earth this month. India Today anti-fake news war room has found that the viral image is that of a meteorite photographed 6 years ago. I haven't seen anything about this, guys. I don't know about you. Which is saying that multiple Facebook users have been posting this image with the caption saying that this is that asteroid that just missed Earth about a day ago. The skies over India. And they're saying that the image is fake. So if any of you guys have seen this one be posted, they're saying it's fake. And you know those fact checkers, man. You know, they're always telling the truth. Every time. Don't Look Up warns of a possible planet killer hitting the Earth. How likely is that? Let's take a look here at Don't Look Up first. Let's get into that. You guys like the intro? Let's go, Brandon. All right. Don't Look Up. And I love how they're bringing these, here we go. These type of movies, man. You know, this is, pretty fucking interesting if you ask me. Let's get this ready here. Alright, here we go, guys. Alright, you're good to go.
This is not real. This is not real. This is not real. This isn't happening. Kate, tell me this isn't really happening.
I hear there's something you don't like the looks of.
We discovered a very large comet.
Oh, good for you.
It's headed directly towards Earth.
This comet is what we call a planet killer.
At this exact moment, I say we sit tight and assess.
Sit tight and assess?
Sit tight.
And then assess. The sit tight part comes first, then you gotta digest it. That's the assessment period.
This is the worst news in the history of humanity. He just blew us off.
What are we gonna do? We have to release the information.
So we just leak it.
Our guests today have made a pretty big discovery in space.
How big is this thing, though? Like, can it destroy my ex-wife's house? Is that possible?
There's a 100% chance that we're all going to die!
Kate?
Hey.
Well, the handsome astronomer can come back anytime, but the yelling lady, not so
Not so much.
We're gonna get the news out there, one way or another.
It's real and it's coming.
FBI!
Jesus Christ, you could have just called me.
This comet contains $30 trillion worth of material.
What do trillions of dollars matter if we're all gonna die?
Oh no, what if we're rich? That would be terrible.
You guys discovered a comet? I have a tattoo of a shooting star on my back.
Oh, that's terrific. This could be a complete disaster.
This is already a disaster.
You know that girl from Live TV said we're all gonna die?
No.
Yo, bro! You'll never take me alive! There it is!
Giant comet hurling its way towards Earth.
Can you see it?
I can't! My head is in a bag!
I did have the FBI put that bag over your head. They don't do that. The CIA does, but I made them do it.
You know, I had a feeling.
It's a good feeling, because that is what I did, and it was very funny and cool.
Can you say predictive programming? You know what I mean? And, you know, they're really getting pretty creative with the movies, right? We had, what was the one, guys, that we would, Greenland, right? Last year, I believe, or earlier this year, Greenland come out. I mean, in the entire movie, if you notice the movie of Greenland, it was showing, like, the seals and the trumpets, right? It had like, the third of the earth being burned up and all of this shit. And then, the large mountain set ablaze that hit, and that's why they had to get to Greenland. And now we have Don't Look Up. Remarkably small risk of discovering an asteroid that could destroy our planet. Expert. This comet is what we call a planet killer. The scene on the screen, the giant object hurtles towards us, and scientists ring alarms and everyone panics trying to figure out how to prevent a total catastrophe. A pair of thrillers in 1998 were based on a similar premise. Remember Deep Impact and Armageddon? But while it's a common trope in movies, just how likely is it that we'll experience an Earth-ending hit from a comet or asteroid in our lifetime? Experts say that unlike the dinosaurs before us, humankind can breathe easy for now. There's a slight, very, very slight chance we could discover an asteroid whose path might intersect that of the Earth in the future. But the risk is remarkably small. All of that for the risk is small. It says, with the dinosaur extinction, for example, we anticipate that there are probably only about 25,000 asteroids which pose a risk, which sounds like a really, really big number. But when you consider how big the space of our solar system is, these asteroids are really very few and far between. With the dinosaur extinction, for example, that would require something that's really large in size. And it says an asteroid that's a kilometer long in diameter and that only happens like once every 500,000 years, maybe, or once every million years. Sometimes we see them as shooting stars and we make a wish, so we're more likely to see those than something that will end humanity on Earth. Yeah, I don't know about that, guys. As they put the DART mission right down here to hit the asteroid, right? Didymos and Dimorphos. And when we look at Eyes on Asteroids, which is like the new NASA app that shows you any of the asteroids that are incoming, they don't even have anything that's marked out, that could possibly be a threat. But I still believe that anything that would be a threat, we would never, ever be told. And I kind of lean towards Immanuel Velikovsky, too, and what he said about these cycles. And if you can see here on the screen, you'll notice over here we have Venus, and over here we have Mars, right? Venus and Mars, and we're like right in between these two things with the sun here. Now, one of the things that's really starting to look suspicious to me is the fact that they've sent out the double asteroid redirection test. And where did they send Lucifer? They sent it out here to the DART, right, or Venus. Double asteroid redirection test over to the side of Venus, and then OSIRIS-REx, which is supposed to be checking out asteroid Bennu, is over here next to Mars. And you see the trajectory of Didymos and Dimorphos is right here on the outside of Mars. And, just saying, guys, it does kind of look a little bit suspicious why they have both of these out here next to these two planets that Velikovsky said were, absolutely a threat to the Earth, and that whenever we seen these cosmic cycles come to an end in the past, it was because of Mars and Venus. It says, all I want for Christmas is a CME. A CME impact is expected on the 24th, and it didn't materialize. NOAA forecasters say the CME may still be coming with a delayed impact on Christmas, and this glancing blow could spark minor G1 class geomagnetic storms and auroras around the Arctic Circle. And if you love comets, Merry Christmas. Comet Leonard C 2021 A1 has turned into a real gift. What's going on today is simply breathtaking. And this is because of the images. And let me go over here and pull up this before we get into the troops and all this. Right here. New views from space show Comet Leonard zooming towards the sun. You guys can see here, hopefully. Let me try to get this to go away so you can actually see the fucking video. The brightest comet of the year makes its closest approach to the sun on January 3rd and then return from whence it came. right here, guys, in the video. Let me see if I can pop it up. There you go. Is it just me? Does it look like it's moving backwards? Just me, or does it look like it's moving backwards? Anybody else see this thing look like the tail's going the wrong way? Ascend out of this level? Yeah, that's where we're trying to get. That's why we're going to get into the Aquarian Gospels of Jesus Christ. We're going to talk about that tonight. So, as soon as we get through some of this, you noticed? You guys talking about the blue-eyed people? What's wrong with blue-eyed people, guys? What's wrong with the people with blue eyes? I've seen that one. Warning. Yeah, it's another one. See here. Let's go back. And notice January 3rd, January 6th, January 10th. All of these days, man. A lot of stuff taking place, guys. A fuck ton of stuff, actually. A lot more than I think many people are even aware of with all the mandates and shit. It says sun-gazing spacecraft managed by NASA and the European Space Agency are providing unique views of Comet Leonard, an ultra-fast chunk of rock, dust, and ice that's currently traveling through the inner solar system. Comets that appear from out of the blue, or more precisely from out of the Oort cloud, such as the case with Comet Leonard, which become visible to astronomers in early January of this year. Leonard is here for a good time, but not a long time. The comet is quickly approaching perihelion, its closest distance to the sun, in its orbital path, causing it to do characteristically cometary things, like glow and grow a gaseous dust tail. It's very faint, but it should be visible when viewed through backyard telescopes or binoculars. And Leonard's closest approach will happen on the 3rd, at which time it'll zoom within 56 million miles of the sun. The half-mile-wide comet, assuming it doesn't disintegrate, will then begin a long 35,000-year journey back to the outer realms of the solar system. And here's another image of it right here, guys. You can see it right there. Little wings coming off of it, looking like it's in water. Which probably is, just saying. And it says Leonard's journey is being chronicled by astronomers on Earth, but also by telescopes in space, specifically Solar Terrestrial Relations Observatory A and the Solar Orbiter, the joint project of NASA and ESA. Both are in business studying the sun, but mission controllers recently used the space-based instruments to do some comet spotting. So Solar Orbiter, which is onboard Solar Orbiter heliospheric imager, captured a video of Leonard using frames collected between the 17th and 19th. When Solo High gathered these images, Leonard was approximately between the sun and the spacecraft, with his gas and dust tails pointing towards the spacecraft. Toward the end of the image sequence, our view of both the tail improves as the viewing angle as we see the comet increases. It gets a side-on view of the comet. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, right here. It literally looks like it's moving backwards. Fucking crazy. And who knows, guys? When you get into some of this stuff, it's sometimes it's fucking hard to tell what's real when it comes to these things. You know what I mean? Is this really an image of a comet? Are they making this in a fucking basement somewhere so you'll keep giving them money? You know what I mean? Kind of a lot of things that the ifs when it comes to this shit, for real. I just know that anytime we're looking at NASA in particular, we know that they didn't go to the moon. So I have trouble believing anything else that they show. Melting Arctic ice will have a catastrophic effect on the world, experts say. Here's how. The Arctic is heating up twice as fast as the rest of the world, according to this year's Arctic Report Card released last week by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The phenomenon known as Arctic amplification occurs when the sea ice, which is white, thins or disappears, allowing dark ocean or land surfaces to absorb more heat from the sun and release that energy back into the atmosphere. Widely considered, polar scientists as Earth's refrigerator due to its role regulating global temperatures, and the mass melting of sea ice, permafrost, and ice caps in the Arctic is hard evidence of global warming. The Arctic is a front line for climate change. We should be paying careful attention to what is happening in the Arctic because it may seem like it's far away, but the impacts come knocking on our front door. Yeah, I've got another one here telling you just what it's going to be knocking like. Not a good one either. Not a good knock, by the way, guys. Just saying. Here, where's it at? Where's it at? Boom. Collapse of Antarctica's Doomsday Glacier to dramatically raise sea levels. And I love keeping up with the Doomsday Glacier because, in my opinion, if it was good enough for Inky to gauge, when something was going to take place, and it's good enough for me to gauge when something's going to take place, Antarctica's Thwaites Glacier, referred to now as the Doomsday Glacier, may melt in 3 years, causing sea levels to rise dramatically. Experts warned on a press conference on December 13th that the large glacier, which is roughly the size of Florida, could trigger a major glacial collapse across the whole of the Antarctic, thus dubbing it the Doomsday Glacier. Thwaites is the widest glacier on the planet, measuring roughly 80 miles across, 2,600 to 3,900 feet deep. The glacier is currently experiencing the most dramatic upheaval of any ice and ocean system on the planet. Yeah, and when this thing goes, this is going to generate fucking tsunamis like nobody's business, guys. I imagine we will see large tidal waves, probably every coast across the globe, just keeping it all the way real. When this one pops off, it's not going to be pretty, not even a little bit. And where's it at here? Bam. Darkness caused by dino-killing asteroid that snuffed out life on Earth in 9 months. Took 9 months to snuff out life. As sunlight dimmed, plants and animals died. And you see here in the background, they've got like this nuclear cloud, right? And if you also see here in the background, there's this giant round shadow right here. You guys see that? I wonder what they're trying to put out there. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's ever watched this channel knows that I've talked about how in this vision or dream that I had that made me start this channel, I seen a giant planet coming up from the left side of the sun here, from underneath this cover, blocking out the sun. The years following the asteroid impact that wiped out non-avian dinosaurs were dark times. Literally, soot from raging wildfires filled the sky and blocked the sun, directly contributing to the wave of extinctions that followed, new research has found. After the asteroid struck around 66 million years ago, the cataclysm extinguished many forms of life instantly, but the impact also caused environmental changes leading to mass extinctions that played out over time. One such extinction trigger may have been the dense clouds of ash and particles that spewed into the atmosphere and spread over the planet, which have enveloped parts of the Earth in darkness that could have persisted for up to 2 years. During that time, photosynthesis would have failed, leading to ecosystem collapse, and even after the sunlight returned, this decline could have persisted for decades more, according to a research presented December 16th at the annual meeting of the American Geophysical Union held in New Orleans and online. It says the Cretaceous period, 145 million to 66 million years ago, ended with a bang when an asteroid traveling at approximately 27,000 miles per hour slammed into the Earth. It measured about 7.5 miles in diameter and left behind a scar known as the Chicks Club crater, which lies underwater from the Gulf of Mexico near the Yucatan Peninsula and spans at least 90 miles in diameter. The impact eventually snuffed out at least 75% of life on Earth, including all non-avian dinosaurs. The lineage that produced modern birds is the only branch of the dinosaur family tree that weathered the extinction. Clouds of pulverized rock and sulfuric acid from the crash would have darkened skies cooled global temperatures, and produced acid rain and sparked wildfires. Scientists first proposed this post-asteroid nuclear winter scenario in the 1980s. This hypothesis suggests that the darkness played a part in the mass extinction of the Cretaceous impact, and it's the only past decade or so that researchers developed models showing how that darkness may have impacted life. The common thinking now is that global wildfires could have been the main source of fine soot that would have been suspended into the upper atmosphere. And the concentration of soot within the first several days to weeks of the fires would have been enough to reduce the amount of incoming sunlight to a level low enough to prevent photosynthesis. Let's see if we can check out this. Let's see if we can find this paper here. Let's see if we can find the paper. Fifth mass extinction. Oh, come on, guys. Come on. Might have it right here. Right here. Vertebrates on the brink as indicators of biological annihilation in the sixth mass extinction. The ongoing sixth mass extinction may be the most serious environmental threat to the persistence of civilization because it is irreversible. Thousands of populations of critically endangered vertebrate animal species have been lost in a century, indicating that the sixth mass extinction is human-caused and accelerating. The acceleration of the extinction crisis is certain because of the still fast growth in human numbers and consumption rates. In addition, species are links in ecosystems, and as they fall out, the species they interact with are also likely to go. In the regions where disappearing species are concentrated, regional biodiversity collapses are likely occurring. Our results re-emphasize the extreme urgency of taking massive global actions to save humanity's crucial life support systems. Let's see how much has already been extinct in the midst of the sixth mass extinction. And of course, it's a number 6, right? And it says here, we examined 29,400 species of terrestrial vertebrates and determined which are on the brink of extinction because they have fewer than 1,000 individuals. There are 515 on the brink. Wow. Around 94% of the populations of 77 mammal and bird species on the brink have been lost in the last century. Assuming all species on the brink have similar trends, more than 237,000 populations of these species have vanished since 1900. Jesus, dude. More than 237,000 populations of those species have vanished since 1900. We conclude the human-caused sixth mass extinction is likely accelerating for several reasons. First, many of these species that have been driven to the brink will likely become extinct soon. Second, the distribution of those species highly coincides with hundreds of other endangered species surviving in regions with high human impacts, suggesting ongoing regional biodiversity collapses. Third, close ecological interactions of species on the brink tend to move other species towards annihilation when they disappear. Extinction breeds extinctions. Finally, human pressure on the biosphere are growing rapidly, and a recent example of the current coronavirus disease linked to wildlife trade. Our results re-emphasize the extreme urgency of taking much expanded worldwide actions to save wild species and humanity's crucial life support systems from this existential threat. So we've already got a lot of extinct shit is the point of that one. Let's take a look at some other stuff here. I've got some cool videos, and then we're going to get into jump into this book here. Take a look at this. Wormwood, as in the days of Noah. Fucking crazy, man.
Mic at. Hold on, shit. No one can even hear me probably. Okay, guys. Here's my new camera. And this is Nibiru. Where the hell's my mic at? Hold on, shit. No one can even hear me probably. Alright, let me turn the mic on. Mic on. Okay. Mic's on. Boom. See, the mic, guys, is down there. Got a professional grade mic. We got the mic.
No one gives a fuck about your mic. We just care what's in the sky, dude. And take a look at that. This here's Nibiru. Red object right underneath the moon. I'm not sure when this was taken. We've been seeing this kind of phenomenon for a long time, but we know that in the last days, the sun will go dark and the moon will become as blood. So, judging from the fact that there's red objects around the moon, I think that's a very likely thing to happen. Like I said, I don't know the date that this was taken or anything like that, so I just want to state that as well. Moving forward here, even more sky shit. Check this one out. This one's pretty cool, actually. Watch the pilot here. He checks out on one side, and sees some type of sphere, and then watch, he goes over to the other side. This one's pretty crazy. So, let me play that one more time here. And everybody in the chat, make sure to hit that thumbs up for me, man. And share this link on your social media. And more news here. Earth's protective field is tilting and pushing the magnetic poles towards the equator. Now, we've already talked about this with the wobble of the Earth. We've already talked about the splitting of magnetic north and south. And we've also talked about the South Atlantic anomaly, which is a negative polarity spot on the ionosphere, repelling the poles towards Siberia. And we've talked about how we are less than 100 miles away from full-on magnetic excursion, and that over the last 3 months, there's been a 20% increase in the speed of the magnetic field as we barrel towards hell.
Skywatch Media News for December 22nd, 2021. In recent weeks and months, the sun has been showing signs of increased activity in the form of coronal mass ejections and solar flares, many of which have been Earth-directed. On December 20th, our planet was placed on highlights, have enjoyed a brief but spectacular glimpse of the colorful red and green hues appearing in the sky. There is no doubt that the magnetic field is changing, and along with it, the magnetic movement of the poles. But this is not the first time that a significant disruption in the Earth's magnetic field has occurred. Some 41,000 years ago, a major disruption in the magnetic field sent auroras wandering towards the equator. This disturbance was known as the Lechamp excursion, in which the magnetic poles weakened and the magnetic field tilted on its axis. The tilt lessened the magnetic pull that directs the flow of high-energy magnetic particles towards the two poles, and instead...
And I disagree with some of this stuff, guys. First off, it wasn't that long ago. Second off, what I believe is taking place whenever we look at magnetism and the geology, right, the land actually moving, when these magnetic reversals take place, it almost looks like the Earth is like a compass or something, where as crustal displacement happens and it allows all that heat from the cosmic rays and shit to escape out of the faults, kind of, letting the land float and shift. I believe it's like an autocorrect. You'll see like the magnetism tilt at 45 degrees, and when it finally reaches the point of instability, then the land slides right back into place with the poles. So that's why I believe these tilts even happen, at all. Matter of fact, in the Bible, when it talks about the land, mountains and islands being removed from their place, it's being described as to turn over, like when you're tilling a garden. So it's something coming from up underneath and rising to the top, or something going from the top and going down below. And that explains a lot of why we're seeing things in all of these science articles talking about land masses that are kind of rising up and they're old or they're eroding and falling down. We're seeing a lot of this right now, and that's what I think is actually taking place here. Whenever you look at any of the things that mainstream science is trying to give you, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be lies. We know that the global positioning system had to get adjusted, over a year early because of the amount of increase or fluctuation in the magnetic poles and how they have migrated so fast. Look at that. It's not just your chemtrail skies, but these, to me, this is a lot of these different gases that are in the ionosphere. And plus you'll see the waves too, right? From the electromagnetic waves from all of this energy that's in the atmosphere, or perhaps coming off of these celestial objects. These giant shelf clouds and the shit that's going from the ground to the sky. The Coburn talks about the heavens and the earth will touch at the coming of the destroyer. It also talks about an amber and a golden hue being in the sky too, right? This ruddy red glow, billowing clouds of smoke, right? We're seeing every last one of these things when it comes to this too. Check this out. Now, I'll leave this up to you, what you guys believe you're seeing here. Some people will call this a lens flare, but I believe that these are just refractions of objects. So we're seeing the object show up as a refraction through the lens, right? It's almost like a glare that's bouncing off. You'll see how when it rotates, you can see the surface features. See? You can see like a lens or something here, and then bam. There's your refraction. Same thing. Which means there's a lot of deception going on. A lot of deception. And the day that this stuff takes place, oof, I don't know if people have basements deep enough. To me, this isn't about doomsday prepping. There's no way to prep for something like this. It's about just being in the right frequency, the right vibration. Look at that. You see what I mean? Right there. There's the actual object. You can see. Look at that, guys. It's about being in the right vibration. The Hopi called this the purifier. You know, Day of the Lord, Judgment Day in the Bible. You know, it's all talking about, you know, weighing you against your darkness. You know, and that's what I believe the whole refinement process, ascension process, all of it is about. It's getting us ready for this. This is the harvest. And it's upon us too. We're so fucking close, it's not funny. You know, yet, just like the Bible actually said, people would be like given in marriage and all of this stuff. So, you know, it's saying it'd be just like a normal fucking day when all this stuff takes place, which is crazy, when you think about it, because that's what's happening right now. Nobody is aware of these things. Nobody is, none the wiser to any of it taking place right now. It's absolutely stunning. Look right there. And, Nostradamus said that 2 suns would appear in the sky too. Well, there you have it, right? There you have it. You can see how that one's actually behind something. So there's more than one object back there. We're that close. Comet Leonard shining in the sky, the Christmas star. Remember that comet-like object with a tail would start to appear according to the Jewish text in their prophetical view of things at the coming of the destroyer. It would be 7 months prior to its arrival. So, take that or leave it. That would mean in the summer of 2022 is when we would actually get fanned by this thing. But I believe there'd be a lot of events before that, right? It's going to bring events to us before we ever, get a chance to do anything. Hold on. This is not the one I want. I think it's right here. Yeah. And look, this one, I'm just going to read you what it says here. It says, I don't know if this is real, but I assume fake, as it would have been reported by many. And you can take a look and you be the judge of this one. If this is fake or real, chat, let me know.
Can you see that?
Pretty crazy. I don't know why the dude was going out of focus. That cannot be real, right? What do you guys think, chat? Fake or real? Fake or real? Pretty fucking crazy if it is real. Wow. I mean, he zoomed all the way in on that motherfucker too, didn't he? Fake or real, guys? Fake or real? Let's see what the chat has to say. Fake or real? Could that be the moon? It's so huge if that's the moon. Just saying. It looks like a Star Wars film. You don't know nowadays. CGI. It's just the moon seen in the daytime. It's real. That's pretty fucking big if that's the moon, dude. I know we're going to die. I think it's real. That's funny, dude. You have not seen the fucking moon like that, dude. Come on now. That's huge, huge. Real, says Kim Ray. Yep. What's up, King Fly? Nice to see you. It's real, says Michael Armstrong. Crazy, says Larry Branham. What is real? We don't. I'm not asking a rhetorical question. I'm just saying, what's your opinion? So close, I know. It should be moving if it's a planet. Well, shut it. How do we know it's not? You know what I mean? How do we know it's not? How do we know that we're not, moving and we're at some close, point? We don't know the speed of this thing or anything. The sun and the moon are moving, yet they look still in the sky. So, you see what I'm saying? We don't know that it's not moving. You've been seeing the moon during the daylight, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Yeah, I see the moon too, all the time, but it's not like that, dude. Come the fuck on. And that doesn't even look like the moon, just to keep it real. Real or blue beam, says Mike. I don't know. You seen it in Alberta 2016? I wouldn't doubt it, man. Looks fake, says Patty Statler. Looks huge, says Shelley Philippi. Tangible is real, says Lower Class. Real and not real. Yeah, I know. If it was that close, we would be experiencing destruction and hearing its howl. Perhaps, Stan. But maybe, just maybe, we don't we don't understand how things work as well as we think we do. You know what I mean? There's still a good chance based on everything being electromagnetic. And I do agree with you, Stan. According to the science, that we have, you should be experiencing some type of rumble on the ionosphere or the magnetic field as it's, vibrating that thing, with its own polarity. Whether it's repelling or, whatever to the magnetic field. So there should be some type of effect from that, you would think. But at the same time, because everything is energy, because everything is electromagnetic, it's kind of hard to rule anything out. We may not experience things in the way that we think we would. There could be planets right up on us and we don't even know, right? They're blocking out the sky for something. I don't know. I just thought it'd be a good idea to ask you guys just to keep it real. And let me show this and then we're going to switch gears here. Check this out. This ain't it. What the fuck? Why does this video keep popping up? I've got like 10 of it. Hold on. Right here. Several witnesses, very excited. Strange fleet of lights
in the sky back in August.
Okay, UFOs or, asteroids, fireballs.
And have seen these things in the sky ever since August, clear up into December. Off and on, not every single night, but every once in a while they will appear. And she steps outside and records them. They don't appear to be Chinese lanterns. I've seen several Chinese lanterns over the years, and these are behaving a little bit differently. They're kind of stationary. You can tell they're not being influenced by the wind, if there's any wind at all. But typically Chinese lanterns will drift in an upward motion. They're easily identifiable. They're not necessarily a sky phenomena. They would be considered a sky phenomenon. They're an identifiable object in the sky. These here, in my humble opinion, are not identifiable. And they are very taken back by these objects too. Whenever they see them, they are mystified at their presence. They say these things are unlike anything that they've ever seen. And most of us have seen, if you're a sky watcher, you've seen Chinese lanterns before. She said there was a tail coming off the backside of these things that looked like a reddish orange tail. Got an extended tail coming off of the back. That's what she was saying. It looked like a
What do you guys think? Is this, fireballs or is this UFOs, chat? Fireballs or UFOs? Jeff P. Yeah, I like Jeff P. It's definitely not the moon. It's definitely not the moon. It doesn't really fit with it because of the effect. I would say fake. Okay. A lot of howling all over the world about a year ago. Yeah, there was. Could be a refraction from the sun. Fireballs. Yeah. Swaru. No shit. Oh yeah, Swaru. When you see those close up their triangles, flashing, skiing on clouds, fireballs, not pure balls. Okay, you guys are losing it. I need to CGI. Motherfucker, not everything CGI, bro. Come on now. This isn't fucking CGI. I bet that's probably our own tech. You know what? Whenever I see stuff like this, I think of the Destroyer. I think of it being out there and the shit that's trailing behind it. And quite possibly that's what we're seeing, You seen them, your family and I see them tonight, and you live in East Texas. Well, that's cool. What kind of feeling do you get when you see them, though? Do you think they're intelligent? Do you think, you know what I mean? What kind of feeling do they give you? I think that's kind of more important than anything, right? Let's move forward here. I just want to get to the sky stuff real fast, guys, and then we'll get to the other. Let's do it. Now, check this out. Where's it at here? This isn't the one I wanted. Sorry. green ball Comet Leonard. Check this out. This is Alex Lujan. Let me go ahead and give the link to this too, for those of you who want to go check it out. Actually, really cool captures of Comet Leonard. So let's take a look at it up close and personal. Fireballs, yeah, I know, it is amazing. It could be just like the Tic Tac UFOs that are there. They're AI control drones with anti-grav. Yeah, by anti-gravitics, to me, it's just a magnetism that's propelling the shit forward. Merry Christmas to you, man. Tim, nice to see you, bruh. Let's take a look here. Let's start at the beginning here. Comet Leonard. Check this out. This is actually a really cool... Here we go. You'll see it right here, night vision. Right there. Comet Leonard. Look at that image, guys. That is fucking spectacular right there. Look at that. Wow. Look how up close it is. That is amazing. And you can see the fucking gas burning off of this thing. Wow. This thing looks so fucking solid, it's not funny. You know, they always try to make comets appear as if they're just flimsy ass things that will disintegrate in the blink of an eye. Nope, don't think so, man. Not even close when it comes to this shit, guys. Check this out. This is a fucking wild one, too. And I mean, you're about to see some huge objects. Don't mind the camera, it's pretty shitty. But check this out. Watch. And by the way, you can see the reflection of the fucking planet in the water, too. So, this isn't a flare. Look at that. Look how fast it's moving too. You can see it. It's got that infrared kind of look to it, guys. We've seen this for years. It almost looked like a smudge on the camera or something. Jeff P, speaking of Jeff P, somebody put his name in the chat earlier. He had a couple of videos in particular where he's like looking out, you know, into water from an all sky cam or something like that. And you can see this thing just pop up for a second because it's moving so fast. You'll see the red dusty look around it, but it almost looks invisible. Just like this. Look how big that is. Look how big that is. what you're going to see is the refraction. Now watch as the light bends it. You're going to end up seeing the planet materialize here through the refraction of the lens. Jesus. Watch as it comes into the light. See, that's how you can tell. Boom, look at that. See, we seen the red object in the refraction. Now, as it actually crossed through the light, now look what you see. You see the objects, actually, as they're being blocked out by this simulator here. And it doesn't mean the sun's actually a simulator. I believe they're using simulators up close to block out or obfuscate these objects that are out there. You know, the sun's still there. But look at that. I don't know if this is a flare from this or not. If not, then there's two objects right here. But you can see as this thing starts to come across, you see the refraction right here. See, there it is again. Boom. Right there. Look at that. Look at that. That is fucking wild. Now here's actually one of the moon. This is the moon. That video earlier, I'm leading towards there's probably, somebody doctor or something, but this is the moon. And you'll see objects coming off of the horizon here. I don't know if these are fucking craft or what in the hell is going on. I don't know if y'all have seen those videos too. There used to be a few different people that would do it. They would take like a topographical map of the moon and light it up and show you that it's actually like Earth. Like it has greenery and all this shit on it. And then they would show you all of these entities on the moon too. They look like fucking dinosaurs, alligators, all types of crazy shit. And then you have people like Boogeyman who, line out bases and all types of stuff. So some people believe it's just a hologram. Excuse me. Apologize, I stayed up late last night. And some people believe that it's like a hollowed out bell. It's, Death Star or whatever.
What is it? Be careful, be careful. What is that? But that could be a satellite. That could be a satellite. Dude, is that even real? I don't know, but it's not moving. It could be a satellite. No, it is moving. Look, it's moving. It's moving. Look at it. I don't know.
That motherfucker about to shit his pants. He's like, it could be a satellite. It could be a satellite. Yeah, that big.
Look, everyone can see it. Let's see. Yo, if this is a flying saucer, I'm trying. If this is a
What the fuck is that? Is that a comet?
Is that a bigger craft that's reaching the...
I think we're all about to die, bro.
Hey, see this bigger craft? Look at that edge of the bigger...
I don't know. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, look how bright it is too.
What the hell? What is that, Mom?
This, I have no clue what this is, but I can tell you that it looks like it's flowing through water or something almost. Excuse me. Looks like it's flowing through water. And, you know, I've heard of people, and I've heard of depictions, too, you know, of dragons and shit. And this is kind of like what I would think of one as.
Ma, you see this?
Holy shit!
What
What
is-
the hell is that?
What is happening? I see this? Oh my god, what the fuck is happening? What is that? What is that?
And then you see right here.
Hello?
Hey, where's mom? Okay.
Don't get no more obvious than that right there, too. You can see the debris literally going across the horizon right there. You know, we're in deep shit when it comes to all this, guys. Could be the Chariot of Fire. What is that? I'll be honest with you. I think it's like a entity or something. You guys remember we showed the video. It's been a while, but of the serpent. It looked like a giant snake flying, not flying, swimming through the sky. I used to show the video all the time. It was fucking just gnarly. Seriously. One of the craziest things I've ever seen, and it was slowed down and all types of stuff. I mean, it was not fake. It was so real. And when I see that fire, you know, kind of moving like that, that's what I think of, like a fiery serpent, right? Like a seraphim. That's what I think of. You know, and I don't know about you, but at least that's what comes to mind for me. And I don't know if we look at Book of Miracles too. Here, I'll show you. Book of Miracles. You'll see similar looking objects here. Here. Pull some of them up. Right there. See, like the little dragons with the wings, like in the video we just seen, and then right here. See, like the fiery tails on these guys? Yeah, very strange shit, man. But it's been seen before, obviously, if it's being shown here. So the big things with wings and these fiery looking dragons, this is what I mean. Look, these little fire serpents. That's what I think they are. What we just seen in that video. Go back.
I think we're all about to die, bro.
Hey, see this bigger crack? Look at, sit down at the edge of the bigger.
Now look, right here, and then look. Right here. To me, that's the same thing. Right? These fire serpents flying in the sky, as depicted in the Book of Miracles.
Ma, you see this?
Holy shit!
What
What
is-
the hell is that?
What is happening? I see this? Oh my god, what the?
If you look like what's really strange about it, it's almost got like this weird movement at the front of it. It's really odd, guys.
What is happening? What is that? What is that?
And look in its wake, too. It's like magnetism in its wake. Yeah, a torn veil. It looks like a serpent. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I think it is. It looks like one of those fucking, you know, fiery serpents. We know that the seraphim, that's what they look like, right? Anytime we're talking about, you know, seraphim, that's what they're always described as a fiery serpent. Now let's jump on this, and then we're going to get into the Aquarian Gospels of Jesus the Christ. Earth and Mars were formed from collisions of large bodies made of inner solar system material. This reminds me right off the top of Immanuel Velikovsky, Worlds in Collision, Remember Mars and his flaming sword and his shadow of pestilence, and then Venus, the comet planet, right? Lucifer the light bearer, or Prometheus, and him being the Passover body, basically. It says here, Earth and Mars were formed from material that largely originated in the inner solar system, and only a few percent of the building blocks of these two planets originated beyond Jupiter's orbit. A group of researchers, excuse me, ate some turkey today, led by the University of Münster, Germany, report these findings on December 22nd, 2021 in the Journal of Science Advances. They present the most comprehensive comparison to date to the isotopic composition of Earth, Mars, and pristine building material from the inner and outer solar system. Some of the material today is still found largely unaltered in meteorites. Let's see if we can actually find the study here. Let's see, Venus is right in here too. The study have far-reaching consequences for our understanding of the process that formed planet Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Well, I guess it's not going to let us pull up the actual abstract here. Approximately 4.6 billion years ago, in the early days of our system, a disk of dust and gases orbited the young sun. Two theories describe how the course of millions of years of the inner rocky planets formed this original building material. Very simple, if you ask me. Very simple. This is just part of our catastrophic cycles. Every time these cycles hit, I believe that the Earth is, something hits into it, and this creates new celestial bodies, right? Like, every time we go through a cycle, a new planet is probably made just by simply these, objects crashing into it. Nibiru, Nemesis is being used, to smash into Earth. Earth being Tiamat. Remember, the Anunnaki broke Tiamat into pieces to mine her golden veins. So who knows, right? But you can tell that all of this stuff is getting really close because this kind of shit. Ukraine President, U.S. lawmakers huddle amid tensions with Russia. And why do they have tensions? Well, I guess it's all the fucking soldiers there. It says in a statement following the meeting, the chairman of the Senate Ukraine caucus was on a call with Zelensky, said the conversation touched on Russia's threat to its borders and their appreciation for the U.S. military's help and his opposition to Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Today we had an opportunity to hear directly from President Zelensky about the ongoing Russian troop buildup along the border. I'm so sorry, guys. And to express their strong solidarity with the people in the democratically elected government of Ukraine. The statement after the meeting concluded said he briefed the U.S. delegation made up of both senators and representatives on steps being pursued to attain peace within existing negotiation formats. Remember, peace and security before sudden destruction. Anytime they start fucking promising peace, they mean the total opposite. Iran atomic chief claims country won't enrich uranium over 60% if nuclear talks fail. Mohammed Eslami insists Tehran will not further approach weapon-grade uranium should efforts to restore the 2015 accord collapse. Yeah, I doubt that too. I showed you guys the video, I think the last one I did, where Stephen Benoon of Israeli News Live was talking about his sources have told him that Israel is going to, they're actually in the process right now of converting some of their fighter jets or planes into fuel tankers. That way they would be able to conduct, air and reconnaissance missions, through the sky. And that they intend to nuke Iran. And remember, they told the United States that if the United States, went back into a deal with them that they would, in fact, attack Iran. But Israeli news says that Iran will strike back on Israel with a nuclear weapon and then bring the United States in, having the U.S. nuke every city in Iran. And that would create this whole domino effect because of the allies of Iran being North Korea and Russia, and North Korea being allies with China, as well as Russia being allies with China. It would be instant World War III. And Japan to boost military spending amid East Asian threats. Japan is set for record defense spending in 2022 as China continues to expand its military and North Korea adds to its missile arsenal. The government approved a budget Friday that dedicated roughly $47 billion to Japan's military for the fiscal year starting April 1st. The budget will still need to be approved by Parliament, which is controlled by the Prime Minister. The marks a 1.1% increase from the year prior and the 10th straight year that Japan has ratcheted up spending with the sector. Japan, along with its allies, the U.S., has expressed concern that China's desire to assert sovereignty over Taiwan poses a security risk in the region. It says China has increased its military deployments over the island that it views as a rogue state. Taiwan maintains it is a sovereign country. And this is the one China policy. Remember, it had been respected since, I believe, the 60s until Trump came along. And now, Biden is basically on the same bullshit, so nothing new there. And astronomers discovered the unexplainable chemical phenomena at work in comets. This is supposed to be why they burn green. Like the ice queens of the universe, shining bright, absolutely freezing and unapproachable. Fresh data released earlier this year quickly melted away the conception of dazzled scientists, leaving a slew of cosmic conundrums in their wake. Their discovery. The first time ever, astronomers identified vaporized and nickel in the atmosphere of comets, leaving the field dumbfounded. 2 papers published in Nature elaborate on the characteristics of both the interstellar comet 21 Borisov and our solar system's own comet. Long story short, we don't know as much about these blazing stars as we thought we did. Well, we could have told you that, guys. We could have told you that. Putin demands U.S. assurances on security as Russia completes hypersonic weapons test. Russia last tested the Zircon hypersonic weapon in November. Just go ahead.
There is too much at stake right now.
Russian President Vladimir Putin voiced overdrawing his country into any conflict, even as he confirmed that the Russian military conducted hypersonic missile tests Thursday night. So yeah, he's trying to voice things one way, but in reality, they're getting ready with the hypersonic test. We've showed you the satellite images and all of that. And it says during the 4-hour marathon news conference, Putin insisted that Russia's wishes to avoid conflict over Ukraine, but he asked for the other nations to provide immediate assurances. Yeah, see, here you go, guys. Immediate assurances. The Black Sea, South China Sea, these are all places that are going to be major battlegrounds. Russia conducts a test launch of the hypersonic missile Interfax. Well, it sucks. It says here that Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Friday that Russia conducted a test launch of hypersonic missile Zircon on Thursday night, Interfax News Agency reported, and Putin has lauded the missile as part of a new generation of unrivaled armed systems. And these hypersonic missiles, which are supposed to behave like meteors, also can't be stopped by missile defense systems. So, you can expect, or at least I expect, that the agenda is going to play on these hypersonic missiles one way or another. They've even talked about Russia having these submarines that are capable or equipped with essentially weapons that can generate tsunamis, right? And many people believe that that's kind of going to be the case. If we have tsunamis that hit America as a result of some type of directed energy, some type of weather machine, who knows? U.S. Navy warships sidelined with outbreak. I've seen so much shit on C-19 outbreak. The USS Milwaukee, and like a lot of people with the Omicron stuff, I just want to state, like with the Omicron stuff going on, I don't think many people are realizing that we're at the point now. We're at the point now where, it seems as if, and remember, they talked about how it would be those who were, not jabbed that would be dying and sick and all of this. I think there's a reason that those things were said. I can't really speak on it too much because of the public platforms, very obviously. But my head's blocking the view. My head's blocking the view of what? What is my head blocking the view of? I'm not showing you anything. I'm just reading. It's cold tonight. Looks like all the traps are set. Yeah, all the traps are set. Tsunami's going to hit New York eventually. Yeah, I've been saying that for a long time. And when it comes to this Omicron thing, you got to think, they've been talking about how this is going to hit all the people that haven't been jabbed yet, right? That's what this is supposed to affect. So kind of consider that. What does that mean for us? We've already looked at some things when it comes to this particular shit, have we not? I'm trying to choose my words carefully here. I can't really talk about it. But basically, people are shedding something. And we've seen data that would suggest that some viruses are nothing more than frequency that would generate kind of like a contact poison. So then you see what's happening now with the Omicron thing and how it's supposed to hit only those who haven't taken it. Well, what's that tell you? Right? And it has a half-life too. So let's just say you get tapped with it, right? You get poked. You come into contact with somebody who hasn't been. You're emanating this contact poison because it's coming through your spit and all this shit, right? You kiss them or sleep with them or whatever, right? Share a drink with them, anything. Or just in a closed room, breathing on them with your, the moisture in your breath. You get them sick from this contact poison. Whoops. Sorry, candy cane. You get them sick from this contact poison, this frequency, right? Well, that means that then they would go home and they would get another person sick, but the next person that got sick would only get half of the poison. They would get another person sick. It would only get half of the poison, and it would either die out or like one more person would then get half. It's to keep it from getting completely out of control to where these elites, when they come back into the world, after everybody's wiped out, there won't be this crazy plague everywhere that they can't avoid. If they do it like this, they can wipe out everybody, and essentially it'll take care of itself instead of getting too infectious, spreading too much. And that's why I think, because you look at where we're at in the agenda, some people have had 2, 3, or 4 pokes, right? Well, if the shed thing to the unjabbed, why are they anticipating that the unjabbed will be the ones that suffer the most? Well, think about it. We're now 2, 3, 4 pokes into this. Those people will probably be very toxic to those who, haven't taken it. Let's see what you got here. U.S. Army. Let's take a look at this. I think I need to move it over here to where it can be seen. There we go. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Yep. Justin just dropped this. The U.S. Army is developing a new type of... Let me highlight it here. Right here. Designated to protect against all current and future variants in the coming weeks. It says, researchers at Walter Reed, that fine establishment, Walter Reed, could potentially announce that this has proven to be effective against the Omicron variant in human trials. It's called the Spike Ferritin Nanoparticle C19 jab. Wow. This is called the Spike Ferritin Nanoparticle. Let's see if we can pull that up. Spike Ferritin. Excuse me. Let's take a look here. Right here, guys. This is it. The Spike Ferritin Nanoparticle protects hamsters against alpha and beta variant challenge. We evaluated whether CoV-2 nanoparticle adjuvanted in the Army liposomal formulation conferred protection against alpha and beta in Syrian gold hamsters. That's weird. Was administered as either single or double. Animals were intranasally challenged at week 11. Binding antibody responses were comparable between high and low dose groups. Neutralizing antibody titers were equivalent. Variants following 2 high dose protected against SARS-CoV-2 induced disease and viral replication following intranasal B challenge, evidenced by reduced weight loss, lung pathology, and lung and nasal turbinate viral burden. Notice how they're, and this is weird too. Where's it at here? Syrian golden hamsters. Syrian. Those are the 12 tribes, right? Sarah, that's where they come out of. And then gold, as in, we're refined by the fire of affliction, purifying us like gold is spirit. So the 12 tribes, gold. That's really weird. Syrian, golden hamsters, right? And hamster is kind of like a rat, which rats are the inversion of stars, right? So very strange wording there on how they even chose to, the stuff that they chose. It says Animal trials were completed successfully earlier this year, and first human trials wrapped up this month. Phase 2 and 3 need to be carried out to determine how effective it is. The director of Walter Reed's infectious diseases branch said, "We decided to take a look at the long game rather than just only focusing on the original emergence of SARS. Instead, understand that the viruses mutate and that there will be variants emerge. Future viruses that may emerge in terms of new species, our platform and approach will equip people to be prepared for that. It is unclear how SPFN may affect those who have already received another poke." Wow. And this is how they're going to do it. They were talking about beaming the shit into people's homes. You guys remember, we showed all of that. Very fucking crazy. People still, at this point, buying into shit. It says weaponized asteroids, rods from God, raining down on Earth and cannon firing, molten metal, and it sounds like something from a sci-fi movie, but these bizarre weapons may soon become a reality as space becomes the final frontier for superpower warfare. Putin revealed a new alliance with China to create space weapons that could unleash havoc in the West if its satellites were targeted. The Russian strongman leader said the partnership was strategic amid growing tensions with NATO. Russian and Chinese space weapons could send the West into the dark ages should it destroy satellites. It's feared an orbital onslaught could shut down hospitals, crash the economy, knock out communications, and cause mass blackouts. Yeah. Sound familiar? Sound like predictive programming? Sound like something you heard? That's right. Because we've talked about how there is a plan to actually do just this, right? And blame it on a cyber attack from Russia, China, North Korea, or Iran. Very strange. Star Warrior. Let's see some of these things that have been developed. Russia's new weapon dubbed Star Warrior has the West worried as it blasts satellites out of orbit at heights of up to 500 miles above the Earth. Putin's state-owned TV issued a chilling threat that Russia may deploy the system to destroy some 32 Western satellites to reorder NATO missiles. Useless. Putin used a weapon to destroy a redundant Soviet-era Selena D military reconnaissance satellite, blasting it into an orbital debris storm. It uses the ominous-looking and pyramid-esque Dawn 2N radar to detect incoming threats and blast them out the sky, which can also detect threats in space. The centerpiece of the radar is a supercomputer called Elbrus 2. How about that? Once threats are detected, 14 TSO-33 missiles can reportedly accelerate to speeds of up to Mach 12. They are believed to be able to hit targets some 500 miles away over the Earth, with the ISS orbiting heights of around 250 miles. And here's a Star Warrior right here. Or what they're calling the Star Warrior. Space War Command and Control. Matter of fact, let's see if we can see some of these images here. This is a Star Warrior. Oh shit. Oh, come the fuck on. Wow. Look at that, guys. Asteroids have the power of dozens of thermonuclear weapons. What do asteroids have to do with space weapons, though? Wow, DARPA's attempt to be able to have complete coverage of Earth and its orbit. Look at that. Talking about a cage being built. DARPA's space plane is thought to be used by the new U.S. Space Forces. Everything DARPA. It's feared some satellites may not be what they seem. Well, the U.S. is launching, 52 satellites? A beam director element of a tactical high-energy laser being tested in New Mexico is another space-capable weapon. What? Look at that, guys. A beam director element of tactical high-energy laser. And we've talked about this with DART, that if DART misses, nuclear weapon missiles fail at blowing an asteroid off course, the last line of defense is a giant directed energy weapon just like this to try to shoot the asteroid and break it into pieces before it actually hits. Very crazy. Moving forward here. Let's get this first. This is what they say. Some Russian troops reportedly withdraw from the Ukraine border area. I don't know how much I buy into all of this. They're saying like 100,000 of them, I think. "10,000 Russian military servicemen are reportedly returning to their permanent deployment points from field training on the border with neighboring Ukraine, according to Interfax News, which quoted statements from the Russian military. The reported redeployment comes after months of tension, with reports Russia was planning a multi-front offensive against Ukraine in early 2022. However, the troop redeployment appears to represent only a fraction of the 70,000 to 100,000 Russian troops believed to be stationed near the border. In the troops in the Southern Military District, the stage of combat coordination of squads, crews, and in motorized rifle formations, military units, and combat arms, special forces has come to an end. Now, more than ever, it's not words that matter, but decisive decisions. My goal is to stop the bloodshed in the east of Ukraine. It's impossible to imagine security in Europe without ending the war in Donbass." Yeah, I don't know if you guys buy into that or not, man. I don't think they're... don't think they're withdrawing shit. Let's see Queen Elizabeth here. Her bitch ass. Her statement. I wonder if it's like Prince Charles, where they're giving little coded fucking messages. Oh, come on, man. Alright. Maybe we're going to see it. She's paid tribute to the late Prince Philip during her first Christmas television broadcast since the death of her husband of 73 years.
Passed away this year.
Christmas can be hard for those who have lost loved ones. This year especially, I understand why. But for me, in the months since the death of my beloved Philip,
oh, who gives a fuck?
I have drawn
guys.
great comfort.
Great comfort. Great comfort because her husband's dead. Sure. He was probably just a reptile anyway, so not anything important. Alright, let's jump into some of these books now. I'm ready to switch it up. Queen's been dead 2 years minimum. Okay. How do you know the fucking Queen's been dead for 2 years? You think the Queen was a little hottie when she was younger? What? You think the Queen was hot? Huh. I haven't seen the Queen when she was younger. I mean, I'm sure she probably did look good, you know, wearing somebody else's skin or whatever. You know what I mean? I can't believe they still have a queen either. CGI? What do you mean CGI? You think she's fake? It was paintings. Dude, I think everything they show us could possibly be like CGI and robots and shit, guys. Just to keep it real. Sure, she's hot if you like the look of inbreds. Green screen, yeah. I get you. I know. I think they do that with a lot of shit. If you like inbreds. If you like fucking dried up old reptiles, yeah, I guess she's bangable. Okay. Let's move on before I start talking about tapping the Queen. Let's go here. Is the end times as described in the book of Revelations? And this is from the Hidden Hand interview. This is just fucking really cool, man. So we're going to get into this in Aquarian Gospels of Jesus the Christ. So we're going to get into a little bit of things. All right, where's that here? Is the end times as described in the book of Revelations? Yes. Not just described in the book of Revelations, but also in the prophecies of virtually every religion, spiritual philosophy, and mystery tradition throughout history. The time is now at hand. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and on that cloud sat one like the Son of Man, having in his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time has come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. So he who sat on the cloud thrust his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. The earth is indeed ripe for harvest. The question is, who will be ready? And will the harvest be positive or negative? How do you justify the current... hold on, let's go down a little bit. We want to look at a little bit of positive and negative shit. Here we go. Why do you think the media is so important to us? You have, as a society, in your hypnotized, comatose state, given your free will consent to the state your planet is in today. You saturate your minds with the unhealthy dishes served up for you on your televisions that you are addicted to. Violence, pornography, greed, hatred, selfishness, incessant bad news, fear, and terror. When was the last time you stopped to think of something beautiful and pure? The planet is the way it is because of your collective thoughts about it. You are complicit in your inaction. Every time you look the other way, when you see an injustice, your thought at the subconscious level of creation to the Creator is your allowance of these things to occur. In so doing, you are serving our purpose. It is very important to us that the polarization of the planet is negative at the time of the great harvest. This means service to God or service to self-oriented as opposed to positive. Service to others, we require a negative harvest, and you are doing a fine job of helping us attain our goal. We are very grateful. There will be dramatic changes to your climate and weather conditions over the next few years as the time of the great harvest approaches. You'll see wind speeds surpassing 300 miles per hour at times. There will be raging tsunamis and widespread devastation. And a solar emission in late 2009 and 2010 that will cause major melting of the ice caps. And subsequent drastic rise in sea levels, leaving many international metropolitan areas underwater. That is all as I have time for at present. It says I have a sacrifice I have to attend. Now, let's switch over here. Aquarian Gospels of Jesus Christ. And this is the philosophic and practical basis of the religion in the Aquarian age of the world. And if you haven't read this, this is really good. You know, the Aquarian age, we're in the Aquarian age now. Okay? Here we go. Materialization of the spiritual body of Jesus. Let me go down here. Elihu's lessons, Buddhism and the precepts of Buddha, the mysteries of Egypt. Again, Elihu talked. He said the Indian priest became corrupt. Here, let me go back a little bit. This is actually pretty cool. Here we go. All right. Archelaus reigns. The son of Herod, Archelaus reigned in Jerusalem. He was a selfish and cruel king. He put to death all those who did not honor him. He called in a council of all the wisest men and asked about the infant claimant to his throne. The council said that John and Jesus were both dead. Then he was satisfied. Now Joseph, Mary, and their son were known in Egypt, in Zoan, and John was with his mother in the Judean hills. Elihu and Salome sent messengers in haste to find Elizabeth and John. They found them and brought them to Zoan. Now Mary and Elizabeth were marveling much because of their deliverance. Elihu said, "It is not strange. There are no happenings. Law governs all events. From olden times it was ordained that you should be with us, and this sacred school be taught." Elihu and Salome took Mary and Elizabeth out to the sacred grove by where they were wont to teach. Elihu said to Mary and Elizabeth, "You may esteem yourselves thrice blessed, for you are chosen mothers of long-promised sons, who are ordained to lay in solid rock a sure foundation stone, of which the temple of the perfect man shall rest, a temple that shall never be destroyed. We measure time by cycle ages, and at the gate of every age we deem a milestone in the journey of the race. An age has passed, and unto another age flies open at the touch of time. This is the preparation age of soul, the kingdom of Emmanuel, of God in man. And these, your sons, will be the first to tell the news and preach the gospel of goodwill to men and peace on earth. A mighty work is theirs, for carnal men want not the light. They love the dark, and when the light shines in the dark, they comprehend it not. We call these sons revealers of the light. But they must have the light before they can reveal the light. And you must teach your sons and set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal, and make them conscious of their missions to the sons of men. Teach them that God and man were one, but that through carnal thoughts and words and deeds, man tore himself away from God, debased himself. Teach the holy breath would make them one again, restoring harmony and peace, that naught can make them one but love. That God so loved the world, he has clothed his Son in flesh that man may comprehend. The only Savior in the world is love, and Jesus, Son of Mary, comes to manifest that love to men. Now love cannot be made manifest until its way has been prepared, and naught cannot rend the rocks and bring down lofty hills and fill the valleys up, and thus prepare the way, but purity. Purity in life men do not comprehend, and so it must too come in flesh. And you, Elizabeth, are blessed because your son is purity made flesh, and he shall pave the way for love. This age will comprehend but little of the works of purity and love, but not a word is lost, for in the book of God's remembrance a registry is made of every thought and word and deed. And when the world is ready to receive, lo, God will send a messenger to open up the book and copy from its sacred pages all the messages of purity and love. Then every man on earth will read the words of life and language of his native land. And men will see the light, walk in the light, and be the light. And man again will be at one with God. Again Elihu met his pupils in the sacred grove and said, No man lives unto himself, for every living thing is bound by cords to every other living thing. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. They will not do to other men what they would not have done or other men do unto them. They are two selves, the higher and the lower self. The higher self is human spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of God. The lower self is the carnal self. The body of desires is a reflection of the higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. The lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is God and man and will not pass away. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower, truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifest. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower is what the higher self is not. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is mother, and the virtues and the harmonies of life. The lower self is promised, but poor is blessedness and peace. It offers pleasure, joy, satisfying gains, but gives unrest and misery and death. It gives men apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. Their cores are full of bitterness and gall. If you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves. And when you well had studied them, and then would ask me what to study next, I would reply, yourselves. He who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows of the things that pass away, and he who knows his higher self knows God, knows well the things that cannot pass away. Thrice blessed is the man Oh, shit. Who made purity and love his very own. He has been ransomed from the perils of the lower self and is himself his higher self. Men seek salvation from an evil that they deem a living monster of the netherworld. And they have gods that are but demons in disguise, all powerful, yet full of jealousy and hate and lust. Whose favors must be brought with costly sacrifice of fruits and the lives of birds and animals and humankind. And yet these gods possess no ears to hear, no eyes to see, no heart to sympathize, no power to save. This evil is a myth. These gods are made of air and clothed with shadows of a thought. The only devil from which men must be redeemed is self, the lower self. If man would find his devil, he must look within. His name is self. If man would find his Savior, he must look within. And when the demon self has been dethroned, the Savior, love, will be exalted to the throne of power. The David of the light is purity, who slays the strong Goliath of the dark, and seats the Savior, love, upon the throne. Salome taught the lesson of the day. She said, all times are not alike. Today the words of man may have the greatest power. Tomorrow women teaches best. In all the ways of life, man and woman should walk hand in hand. The one without the other is but half. Each has a work to do, but all things teach. Each has a time and a season for its own. The sun, the moon, have lessons of their own for men, but each one teaches at the appointed time. The lessons of the sun fall down on human hearts like withered leaves upon a stream, if given in the season of the moon, and so with the lessons of the moon and all the stars. Today one walks in gloom, downhearted and oppressed. Tomorrow that same one is filled with joy. Today the heavens seem full of blessedness and hope. Tomorrow hope is fled, and every plan, purpose has come to naught. Today one wants to curse the very ground on which he treads. Tomorrow he is full of love and praise. Today one hates and scorns and envies and is jealous of the child he loves. Tomorrow he has risen above his carnal self and breathes forth gladness and goodwill. 1,000 times men wonder why these heights and depths, these light hearts and these sad are found in every life. Salome taught the lesson of the day. She said, all times are not alike. Today the words of man may have the greatest power. I already said that. And Mary said, today I am in exaltation great. My thoughts and all my life seem lifted up. Why am I thus inspired? Salome replied, this is a day of exaltation, a day of worship, and a day of praise, a day when, in a measure, we may comprehend our Father God. Then let us study the 1, the 3, the 7. Before the worlds were formed, all things were one, just spirit, universal breath. Oh shit. And the Spirit breathed, and that which was not manifest became the fire and thought of heaven, and the Father God and Mother God. And when the fire and thought of heaven and union breathed, their son, their only son, was born. This son is love, whom men have called the Christ. And once again, just kind of put this out there. The Spirit breathed, and that which was not manifest became the fire. The prince of the power of the air, a fiery serpent, or seraphim, right? Aries, and the thought of heaven. Remember, Samael heard himself, right? Consciousness, thought, which is creation. And the Father and the Mother God. And when the fire and thought of heaven in union breathed their Son, their only Son was born. This Son is love, or Venus, who men have called the Christ, or Christos, which means the anointing. Men call his thought of the heaven the holy breath. And when the triune God breathed forth, lo, 7 spirits stood before the throne. These are the Elohim, creative spirits of the universe. Now, think about who this Father would be, right? They're calling Christ love. Love is Venus, or love is Lucifer, right? It's the feminine. And the Father and Mother God, right, which we know, both aspects, masculine and feminine. And it also says here, where's it at? The thought of heaven is holy breath. Remember, consciousness. The triune God breathed forth, and lo, 7 spirits stood before the throne. The 7 sons of Satan, right? And remember, we've established that the Ancient of Days is Satan. He's Old Testament God. And these are they who said, let us make man, and in their image man was made. In early ages of the world, the dwellers in the farther east said, Tao is the name of the universal breath. And in the ancient books we read, no manifesting form has Tao great, and yet he made and keeps the heavens and earth. No passion has our Tao great, and yet he causes sun and moon and all the stars to rise and set. No name has Tao great, and yet he makes all things to grow. He brings in season both the seed time and the harvest time. And the Tao great was one, and one became the two became the three evolved the 7, which filled the universe with manifest. And Tao great gives unto all the evil and the good, the rain and the dew, the sunshine. Oh shit. Where's that here? Sorry. Right here. Well, shit, guys. Lost my spot. Here we go. The sunshine and the flowers, from his rich stores he feeds them all. And in the same old book we read of man, he has a spirit knit to Tao great, a soul which lives within the 7 breaths of Tao great, a body of desires that springs up from the soil of flesh. Now spirit loves the pure, the good, the true. The body of desires extols the selfish self. The soul becomes a battleground between the two. And blessed is the man whose spirit is triumphant and whose lower self is purified, whose soul is cleansed, becoming fit to be the council chamber of the manifest of Tao great. Elihu taught. He said, In ancient times, a people in the East were worshippers of God, the one who they called Brahm. Remember, Abraham, Brahma, right? They're talking about Brahma. All the same guys. Their laws were just. They lived in peace. They saw the light within. They walked in wisdom's ways. But priests with carnal aims arose, who changed the laws to suit their carnal mind, bound heavy burdens on the poor, and scorned the rules of right. And so the Brahms became corrupt. But in the darkness of the age, a few great masters stood unmoved. They loved the name of Brahm. They were great beacons, light before the world, and they preserved inviolate of the wisdom of their holy Brahm. And you may read the wisdom in their sacred books. And in Chaldea, Brahm was known. A pious Brahm named Terah lived in Ur. His son was so devoted to the Brahmic faith that he was called Abram. He was set apart to be the father of the Hebrew race. Now Terah took his wife and sons and all his flocks and herds to Haran in the west. Here Terah died. And Abram took the flocks and herds, and with his kindred journeyed further west. And when he reached out the oaks and the Morah and the land of Canaan, he pitched his tents there, abode. A famine swept the land, and Abram took his kindred and his flocks and his herds and came to Egypt. And in these fertile plains of Zon pitched his tent, and here abode. And men still mark the place where Abram lived across the plain. You ask why Abram came to Egypt land. This is the cradle land of the initiate. All secret things belong to Egypt land, and this is why the masters come. In Zon, Abram taught his science of the stars, and in that sacred temple over there he learned the wisdom of the wise. And when his lessons all were learned, he took his kindred and journeyed flocks and herds and journeyed back to Canaan. In the plains of Mamre pitched his tent, and there he lived, and there he died. And the records of his life and works of his sons of the tribes of Israel are well preserved in Jewish and sacred books. In Persia, Brahm was known and feared. Men saw him as the one, the causeless cause of all that is. He was sacred unto them, and Tao to the dwellers of the farther east. The people lived in peace, and justice ruled, which justice is Jupiter. But as in the other lands, Persia priests arose and imbued with self and self-desires, and outraged force, intelligence, and love. Religion grew corrupt, and birds and beasts and creeping things were set apart as gods. In courses of time, a lofty soul, when men called Zarathustra, came in flesh. Which, if we look at, Vyasudra, right? Very similar to Zarathustra, or probably Zoroaster. And we know that the Aster comes from like Ash star, right? Remember we were like looking at this the other day with Baal and the Ash star. So Zarathustra or, Zoroaster, these would, all be akin to the same guy probably. He was a causeless spirit, high and lifted. He saw the weakness of all men, appointed gods. He spoke, and all of Persia heard, and when he said, one God, one people, one shrine. The altars of the idols fell and Persia was redeemed. But men must see their God with human eyes. And Zarathustra said, the greatest of the spirits standing near the throne is Ahura Mazda, who manifests in brightness of the sun. And Ahura Mazda is like the one with the wings and shit. He would also be probably the destroyer. And all the people saw Ahura Mazda in the sun, and they fell down and worshipped him in the temples of the sun. And Persia and the Magian land, where lived the priest who saw the star arise to the marked place where Mary's son was born, and were the first to greet him as the Prince of Peace. The precepts and the laws of Zarathustra are preserved in the Avesta, which you can read and make your own. But you must know that their words are naught till they are made alive, until the lessons they contain become a part of head and heart. Now truth is one, but no one knows the truth until he is the truth. No one knows the truth till he is the truth. Let's go down here. I want to find where it talks about this. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. All right. Men comprehend the inner life by what they see and do. They come to God through ceremonies and forms. And so when you would make men know that sins are washed away by purity and life, a rite symbolic may be introduced. In water, wash the bodies of the people who would turn away from sin and strive for purity and life. This rite of cleansing is a preparation rite, and they who thus are cleansed comprise the church of purity. And you shall say, your men of Israel, hear, reform and wash, become the sons of purity, and you shall be forgiven. This rite of cleansing and this church are but symbolic of the cleansing of the soul by purity and life, and the kingdom of the soul, which does not come with outward show, but is a church within. Now you may never point that way and tell the multitudes to do what you have never done. You must go before and show the way. You are to teach that men must wash, so you must lead the way. Your body must be washed, symbolic of the cleansing of the soul. John said, why need I wait? May I not go at once and wash? Mattino said, 'tis well. And then they went down to the Jordan ford east of Jericho, where the host of Israel crossed when first they entered Canaan. They tarried for a time. Mattino taught the harbinger, and he explained to him the inner meaning of the cleansing rite and how to wash himself and how to wash the multitude. And in the river Jordan John was washed, and then they returned unto the wilderness. Now in Engadi's hills, and Mattino's work was done, and he and John went down to Egypt. They rested not until they reached the temple of Saqqara in the valley of the Nile. For many years Mattino was a master in his temple of the Brotherhood, and when he told about the life of John and of his mission to the sons of men, the Hierophant with joy received the harbinger, and he was called Brother Nazarite. For 18 years John lived and wrought within these temple gates, and here he conquered self. He became a mastermind and learned the duties of the harbinger. And see, even in something like this, it all boils down to, us doing the work on the inside, right? The only way out is in. And it's about living inside out, not outside in, right? And that's how the world does. They live outside in. Everything, all these external things, determine who they are instead of them, determining the world around them. Now, let me show you that too. He gives us, right here, he gives us whole thing on how we evolved spiritually to where, we could take a perfect man and model ourselves after that. Let's see if I can find it real fast. If you've never read this goes into Jesus as a kid and everything. These spirits of the triune God moved on the face of boundless space, and 7 ethers were, and every ether had its form of life. Here we go. Okay. Among the Buddhist priests was one who saw a lofty wisdom in the words that Jesus spoke. It was Bharata Arabo. And together Jesus and Bharata read the Jewish Psalms and prophets, read the Vedas, Avesta, and the wisdom of Gautama. And if they read and talked about the possibilities of man, Bharata said, "Man is the marvel of the universe. He is a part of everything, for he has been a living thing on every plane of life. Time was when man was not, and then he was a bit of formless substance in the molds of time, and then a protoplasm. By universal law, all things tend upward to a state of perfectness. The protoplast evolved, becoming worm, then reptile, bird, beast, and then at last it reached the form of man. Now man himself is mind, and mind is here to gain perfection by experience, and mind is often manifest in fleshly form. And remember, we live in the mind of God. The universe is mental. The all is mind, and the form best suited for its growth. So mind may manifest as worm or bird or beast or man. The time will come when everything of life will be evolved unto the state of perfect man. And after man is man in perfectness, he will evolve to higher forms of life. And Jesus said, Bharata Arabo, who taught you this? That mind, which is the man, may manifest in flesh of beast or bird or creeping thing. Bharata said, from times which man remembers, not our priests have told us so, and so we know. And Jesus said, enlightened Arabo, are you a mastermind, and do you know what man knows not by being told? Man may believe what others say, but thus he never knows. If a man would know, he must himself be what he knows. Do you remember, Arabo, when you was ape or bird or worm? Now, if you have no better proving of your plea than that the priests have told you so, you do not know. You simply guess. Regard not then what any man has said. Let us forget the flesh and go with his mind into the land of fleshless things. Mind never does forget, and backward through the ages, masterminds can trace themselves, and thus they know. Time never was when man was not. That which begins will have an end. If man was not, the time will come when he will not exist. From God's own record book we read, the triune God breathed forth, and 7 spirits stood before his face. The Hebrews call these 7 spirits Elohim, and these are they who, in their boundless power, created everything that is or was. The spirits of the triune God moved onto the face of the boundless space of the 7 ethers were, and every ether had its form of life. These forms of life, but the thoughts of God, clothed in substance of their ether planes. Men call these ether planes the planes of protoplast, of earth, and planet of beast and of man, or angel and of cherubim. These planes, with all their teeming thoughts of God, are never seen by eyes of man in flesh. They are composed of substance far too fine for fleshly eyes to see, and still they constitute the soul of things. And with the eyes of soul, all creatures see these other planes and all the forms of life, because all forms of life on every plane are thoughts of God. All creatures think, and every creature is possessed of will, and in its measure has the power to choose. And in their native planes, all creatures are supplied with nourishment from the ethers of their planes, and so it was with every living thing until the will became a sluggish will. And then the ethers of the protoplast, the earth and the planet, the beast and the man, began to vibrate very slow. The ethers all became more dense, and all the creatures of those planes were clothed with coarser garbs, the garbs of flesh, which men can see. And thus this coarser manifest, which men call physical, appeared. And this is what caused the fall of man. But man fell not alone, for protoplast and earth and planet and beast were all included in the fall. The angels and the cherubim fell not. Their wills were ever strong, and so they held the ethers of their planes in harmony with God. Now when the others reached the rate of atmosphere, and all the creatures of these planes must get their food from atmospheres, then the conflict came. And then that which is the finite man has called survival of the best became a law. The stronger ate the bodies of the weaker manifest. And here is where the carnal law of evolution had its rise. And now man in his utter shamelessness strikes down and eats the beast. The beast consumes the plant, and the plant thrives on the earth. The earth absorbs the protoplast. In yonder kingdoms of the soul, the carnal evolution is not known. The great works of the masterminds is to restore the heritage of man. To bring him back, This goddamn thing, man, hit the wrong arrow and it goes, I lose my spot. Okay. Here we go. A perfect age will come when every man will be a priest, and men will not array themselves in special garb to advertise their piety. Now Ming's day, greatest sage of all the farther east, was in his temple of Tibet. The path across Emotus Heights was difficult, but Jesus started on his way with Vidyapati. Sent with him a trusted guide. Vidyapati sent a message to Mingste, in which he told about the Hebrew sage, and spoke from him and welcomed by the temple priest. Now after many days and perils great, the guide and Jesus reached the Lhasa temple in Tibet, and Mingste opened wide the temple doors, and all the priests and masters gave a welcome to the Hebrew sage. And Jesus had access to all the sacred manuscripts, and with the help of Mingste, read them all. And Mingste often talked with Jesus of the coming age, and the sacred service best adapted to the people of the age. In Lhasa, Jesus did not teach. When he had finished all his studies in the temple schools, he journeyed toward the west. In many villages, he tarried for a time, and not. At least he reached the pass, and in the Ladakh city led, he was received with favor by the monks, the merchants, and the men of low estate. And in the monastery he abode and taught, and then he sought the common people in the marts of trade. And there he taught. Not far away from a woman lived whose infant son was sick, nigh unto death. The doctors had declared, there is no hope, the child must die. The woman heard that Jesus was a teacher sent from God, and she believed that he had power to heal her son. And so she clasped the dying infant in her arms and ran with haste and asked to see the man of God. When Jesus saw her faith, he lifted up his eyes to heaven and said, my Father God, let power divine overshadow me, and let the holy breath fill full this child, that it may live. And in the presence of the multitude he set his hands upon the child and said, good woman, you are blessed. Your faith has saved your son. And then the child was well. The people were astonished, and they had said, this surely is the Holy One made flesh. For man alone cannot rebuke a fever thus and save a child from death. The many of the people brought their sick, and Jesus spoke the word, and they were healed. Among the Ladakh, Jesus tarried many days. He taught them how to heal, how sins are blotted out, and how to make on earth a heaven of joy. The people loved him for his words and works, and when he must depart, they grieved, as children grieve when mother goes away. And on the morning when he started on his way, the multitudes were there to press his hand. To them he spoke a parable. He said, a certain king so loved the people of his land that he sent forth his only son with precious gifts for all. The son went everywhere and scattered forth the gifts with lavish hand. But there were priests who ministered at shrines of foreign gods, who were not pleased because the king did not through them bestow the gifts. And so they sought to cause the people all to hate this son. They said, These gifts are not of any worth. Excuse me, they are but counterfeits, and so the people threw the precious gems and gold and silver into the streets. They caught the son and beat him, spit upon him, and drove him from their midst. The son resented not their insults and their cruelties, but thus he prayed, My Father God, forgive these creatures of thy hand. They are but slaves. They do not know what they do. And you see how it's like very different from the Bible. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. But it's the same premise here, right? They beat the shit out of him, and he's trying to forgive them, because they have no clue. Just like we see this all the time when it comes to people. They harm others because they're suffering on the inside. So they want to make others suffer. Misery loves company. Where is it at? 24 years of age was Jesus when he entered Persia on his homeward way. In many a hamlet, a town, neighborhood he paused. The priests were ruling classes, did not welcome him, because he insured them for cruelty to those of low estate. And that's the thing. People who watch this channel, are outcasts and rejects and black sheeps and I don't do coke, guys. I just like the smell. That's funny. I don't think I can make anybody in a mod from here, from Restream. Yeah, this is a really good one. The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ.
Question: what is an age? Astronomers tell us that our sun and his family of planets revolve around the central sun, which is millions of miles.
That's the audio version. Alright. I'm trying to I want to find the process where they show it here. Sorry, I'm getting tired, guys. They talk about how they needed these different gods over these different ages so we could recognize kind of like each aspect of God. Okay. Here we go. This is Jesus receiving his mystic name and number. The master took down from the wall a scroll on which was written down the number and the name of every attribute and character, he said. The circle is a symbol of the perfect man, and 7 is the number of the perfect man. Now remember, the circle, the 4 angles, right? The 4 90-degree angles. And remember, there's 9 dimensions of man, right? 9 levels. 4 90-degree angles or angels make up the whole, or the Holy One, the Supreme Being, which is God. The circle, Father Time, Chronos. And 7 are 7 chakras, 7, lampstands, 7, all that shit. Now, the circle is a symbol of a perfect man, and 7 is a number of the perfect man. The Logos is the perfect word, that which creates, that which destroys, and that which saves. The Hebrew master is the Logos of the Holy One, the circle of the human race, the 7 of time. And in the record book, the scribe wrote down, the Logos circle 7, and thus was Jesus known. The master said, the Logos will give heed to what I say. No man can enter into light till he has found himself. Go forth and search till you have found your soul, and then return. The guide led Jesus to a room in which the light was faint and mellow, like the light of early dawn. Morning star. The chamber walls were marked with mystic signs, the hieroglyphs and sacred texts, and in this chamber Jesus found himself alone, where he remained for many days. He read the sacred texts throughout the meanings of the hieroglyphs and sought to import of the master's charge to find himself. A revelation came. He got acquainted with his soul. He found himself that he was not alone. One night he slept. In the midnight hour, a door that he had not observed was opened, and a priest in somber garb came in and said, "My brother, pardon me for coming in at this unseemly hour, but I have come to save your life. You are a victim of a cruel plot. The priests of Heliopolis are jealous of your fame, and they have said that you shall never leave these gloomy crypts alive. The higher priests do not go forth to teach the world, and you are doomed to temple servitude. Now, if you would be free, you must deceive these priests and must tell them you are here to stay for life. And then when you have gained all that you wish to gain, I will return, and by a secret way will lead you forth that you may go in peace." And Jesus said, "My brother, would you come back here to teach deceit? Am I within these holy walls to learn the wiles of vile hypocrisy? Nay, my Father scorns deceit, and I am here to do his will. Deceive these priests, not while the sun shall shine. While I have said that I have said, I will be true to them, to God, and to myself." And then the tempter left, and Jesus was again alone. But in a little time, a white-robed priest appeared and said, "Well done. The Logos has prevailed. This is the trial chamber of hypocrisy." And then he led the way. Jesus stood before the judgment seat. And all the brothers stood. The Hierophant came forth and laid his hands on Jesus' head and placed within his hands a scroll on which was written just one word: sincerity. And not a word was said. The guide again appeared and led the way in a spacious room, replete with everything a student craves, which Jesus bade to rest and wait. The Logos did not care to rest, he said. Why was it in this luxurious room? I need not rest. My Father's work upon me presses hard. I would go on and learn my lessons all. If there are trials, let them come. For every victory over self gives added strength. And then the guide led on. And in a chamber dark as night was Jesus placed and left alone. Oh, shit. And days were spent in this deep solitude. And Jesus slept in the dead of night. A secret door was opened, and in came a priest attired. 2 men came in, each carrying in the hand a little flickering lamp. Approaching Jesus, one spoke out and said, "Young man, our hearts are grieved because of what you suffer in these fearful dens. We have come as friends to bring you light and show you the way to liberty. We once, like you, were in these dens confined, and thought that these, though weird, uncanny ways, we could attain to blessedness and power. But in a luckful moment we were undeceived, and making use of all our strength, we broke our chains, and then we learned that all this service and corruption is disguise. These priests are criminals just hid away." And it sounds like he's being initiated into the mysteries, right? They're putting him in this chamber, this room, and he's got to, come out with this lesson or he don't ever get out. They're saying that they hide the brightest teachers, inside the temple. They don't let them go out into the world and teach. They boast sacrificial rites. They offer to their gods and burn them while alive. Poor birds and beasts, yea, children, women, and men, and at a certain time may offer you in sacrifice. We pray you, brother, break your chains. Come, go with us, accept the freedom while you may. Yeah, and see, Jesus passes the second brotherhood test and receives a second degree. Jesus is becoming a Mason right here. Just saying. Jesus spends 40 days in the temple groves and passes the 5th brotherhood test and receives his 5th degree, heroism. Here we go. The sacred temple groves were rich in statues, monuments, and shrines. Here Jesus loved to walk and meditate. And after he had conquered self, he talked with nature in these groves for 40 days. And then the guide took chains and bound him, hand and foot, and then cast him into a den of hungry beasts, unclean birds, and creeping things. The den was dark as night. The wild beasts howled. The birds in a fury screamed. The reptiles hissed. And Jesus said, "Who was it that did bind me thus? And why did I meekly sit to be bound down with chains?" I tell you, none has power to bind the human soul of what our fetters made. And in his might he rose, and what he thought were chains were only worthless cords that parted at his touch. And then he laughed and said, The chains that bind men to the carcasses of earth are forged in fancy shops and made of air and welded in illusion's fires. And he's talking about the silver cord, right, that binds your soul to your body. If man will stand erect and use the power of will, his chains will fall like worthless rags, for will and faith are stronger than the stoutest chains that men have ever made. And Jesus stood erect among the hungry beasts and birds and said, "What is this darkness that envelops me? 'Tis but the absence of light, and what is light? 'Tis but the breath of God, vibrating in the rhythm of rapid thought." And he said, "Let there be light." And with a mighty will he stirred the ethers up, and their vibrations reached the plane of light, and there was light. The darkness of the den of night became the brightness of a newborn day. And then he looked to see the beasts and birds and creeping things. Lo, they were not. And Jesus said, "Of what are souls afraid? Fear is a chariot in which man rides to his death." Fear is a chariot in which man rides to his death. When he finds himself within the chamber of the dead, he learns that he has been deceived, and his chariot was a myth, and death a fancy child. But someday all man's lessons will be learned, and from the den of the unclean beasts and birds and creeping things he will arise to walk in light. And Jesus saw a ladder made of gold. This would be Jacob's ladder. And remember, gold, spirit, right? This could be DNA. This could be a lot of things. But he saw a ladder made of gold. We'll assume Jacob's ladder, on which he climbed. And at the top, the white-robed priest awaited him. And he stood before the council bar. Again, no word was said. Again, the Hierophant reached forth his hand to bless. He placed in Jesus' hand another scroll, and on this one written heroism. The Logos had encountered fear and all his phantom host, and in the conflict he achieved the victory. Upon your brow I place this diadem. In the great lodge of the heavens and earth, you are the Christ. This is your great Passover rite. You are a neophyte no more, but are a mastermind. No man can do no more, but God himself will speak and will confirm your title and degree. Go on your way, for you must preach the gospel of goodwill to men, and peace on earth, must open the prison doors and set the captives free. And while the Hierophant yet spoke, the temple bells rang out, and a pure white dove descended from above and sat on Jesus' head. And then a voice that shook the very temple said, "This is the Christ," and every living creature said, "Amen." Here we go. The time was due. The council met and sat in silence 7 days, and then Mingstay arose and said, "The wheel of time has turned once more. The race is on a higher plane of thought. The garments that our fathers wove have given out, and the cherubim have woven a celestial cloth and have placed it in our hands, and we must make for men new garbs. The Son of Men are looking up for greater light. No longer do they care for gods hewn out of wood or made of clay. They seek a God not made with hands. They seek to be the beams of coming day, and yet they comprehend them not. The time is ripe, and we must fashion well these garments for the race." And let us make for men new garbs of justice, mercy, righteousness, and love. They may have to hide their nakedness while shines the light of coming day. Vijayapati said, our priests have all gone mad. They saw a demon in the wilds. At him cast their lamps, and they are broken up, and not a gleam of light has any priest for men. The night is dark. The heart of India calls for light. The priesthood cannot be reformed. It is already dead. Its greatest needs are graves and funerals and chants. The new age calls for liberty, the kind that makes each man a priest, enables him to go alone and lay his offerings on the shrine of God. And Caspar said, in Persia people walk in fear. They do the good for fear to do the wrong. The devil is the greatest power in our land, and though the myth he dandles on his knee both youth and age. Our land is dark, and evil prospers in the dark. Fear rides on every passing breeze, and lurks in every form of life. The fear of evil is a myth. It is an illusion of a snare. But live until some mighty power shall come to raise the others to the plane of light. When this shall come to pass, the Magian land will glory in the light, and the soul of Persia calls for light. Sorry, guys. I'm tired here. Matter of fact, I'm about to wrap this one up. That way I can actually do a little bit better. What? Weird thing worth mentioning. You were banned from all live chat for 4 weeks except this one. Huh? You've tried almost daily. What? You're banned from all live chats. 73 on, like nobody's chatting much this morning. Yeah, 73. Yeah, that's weird. Who authorized the Aquarian Gospels? Who authored the Aquarian Gospels? What's the guy's name? Does anybody know the guy's name who wrote the Aquarian Gospels? It's just like one name. He's just a regular cat, man. I know that Nietzsche wrote Thus Spoke Zarathustra. I've not read that, Mike. I would like to actually get into that. I'm trying to give my eyes a break and go to the chat for a second, and when I don't fall asleep while reading. I want to show you guys. It says, the need of Hebrew thought and life is liberty. The Hebrew prophets, seers, and givers of the law were men of power, men of holy thought, and they bequeathed to us a system of philosophy that was ideal, one strong enough and good enough to lead our people to the goal of perfectness. But carnal minds repudiated holiness. A priesthood filled with selfishness arose, and purity in heart became a myth. The people were enslaved. The priesthood is the curse of Israel. But when he comes, who is to come, he will proclaim emancipation for the slaves. My people will be free. Behold, for God has made incarnate wisdom, love, and light, which he is called Emmanuel. To him is given the keys to open up the dawn, and here, as man, he walks with us. Now, God with us, remember, to him is given the keys to open up the dawn. If you don't notice, this version of Jesus is definitely Lucifer, in my opinion. He's given the keys to open up the dawn. Right? He's chained in a den or like a bottomless pit. Given the keys to a bottomless pit too would make him like Michael the Archangel. They're talking about justice, Jupiter, which is the shining one. talking about love, Lucifer, Venus, right? The light bearer. There's a lot of these things in here that kind of lead you to believe that, he's not the Jesus that you know. Now, they knew the kind of laws and precepts suited best to his estate. They saw the highest God ideal that the race could comprehend. Here we go. Upon the 7 postulates, these sages were to formulate the great philosophy of life and worship of the coming age must rest. Now Ming-Stay was the oldest sage. He took the chair of chief and said, "Man is not far enough advanced to live by faith. He cannot comprehend the things his eyes see not. He yet is child, and during all the coming ages he must be taught by pictures, symbols, rites, and forms. His God must be a human God. He cannot see a God by faith, and then he cannot rule himself. The king must rule. The man must serve. The sage that follows this will be the age of man, the age of faith. In the blessed age, the human race will see without the age of carnal eyes, will hear the soundless sound, and will know the Spirit God. The age we enter is the preparation age, and all the schools and governments and worship rites must be designed in simple way that men may comprehend. And man cannot originate. He builds by patterns that he sees. So in this council we must carve out patterns for the coming age. And we must formulate the gnosis of the empire of the soul, which rests upon 7 postulates. Each sage in turn shall form a postulate, and these shall be the basis of the creeds of men until the perfect age shall come. The Ming-Stay wrote the first. All things are thought. All life is thought activity. The multitude of beings are but phases of the one great thought made manifest. Lo, God is thought, and thought is God. Then Vidyapati wrote the second postulate. Eternal thought is one. In essence, it is 2, intelligence and force. And when they breathe, a child is born. This child is love. And thus the triune God stands forth, whom men call Father, Mother, Child. The triune God is one, but like the one of light, in essence he is 7. And when the triune God breathes forth, lo, 7 spirits stand before his face. These are creative attributes. Men call them lesser gods, and in their image they made men. And Caspar wrote the third. Man was the thought of God, formed in the image of the Septuagint, clothed in the substance of the soul, and his desires were strong. He sought to manifest on every plane of life, and for himself he made a body of the ethers and of the earthly forms, and so descended to the plane of earth. So he was cast down, right? And in this descent, he lost his birthright, lost his harmony with God, and made discordant all the notes of life. And harmony and evil are the same. So evil is a handiwork of men. Ashbina wrote the fourth. Seeds do not germinate in light. They grow until they find the soil and hide themselves away from the light. Man was evolved a seed of everlasting life, but in the ethers of the triune God, the light was too far and too great for seeds to grow. And so man sought the soil of carnal life, and in the darknesses of earth he found a place where he could germinate and grow. The seed has taken root and grown full well. The tree of human life, rising from the soul of earthly things and under natural law, is reaching up to perfect form. There are no supernatural aspects of God, to lift man from a carnal life to a spirit blessedness. He grows as grows the plant, and in due time is perfected. He grows as grows the plant, and in due time is perfected. Let's see here. And no, too, like, whenever we're looking at something like this, you know, whoever did read this has probably, or wrote this, has probably fucking read a billion other of these things, and they put a lot into this. I do believe that they've incorporated Lucifer pretty heavily, you know, as Jesus, right? And the Aquarian age, the age of Aquarius, you know, it started with the Great Conjunction, in my opinion. You know, and it's Jupiter usurping Saturn, Jupiter representing justice, and also Jesus, right? By his stripes we were healed. You Son of God, why are you here? Would you destroy us by the word before our time? We would have naught to do with you. Let us alone. But Jesus said to them, by the omnific word I speak, come out. Torment this man no more and go to your place. Then the manifest spirits threw the man upon the floor, and with a fiendish cry, they went away. And Jesus lifted up the man and said to him, if you will keep good your mind, sorry guys, I can't find the spot I want here. I'm getting tired, so I don't want to keep reading. But you see some of it, how they are talking about how we needed symbols, we needed shapes, we needed numbers, we needed deities, we needed all these things throughout the different ages to help us internalize God, because we were, you know, in such an external understanding. You know, so we needed to know every aspect of the Creator. And by the time we learned every aspect and had all these old religions that showed it, which it's saying in this book that they're all the same. It doesn't matter which religion, and it doesn't matter which age. Even those that were worshiping symbols and shit, they were actually still worshiping God, because it was their limited perception at that time, because they were still evolving on the path. And that we would be like the final phase of that path. We would be, you know, the light, basically. Now the marriage in the sight of law is but a promise made by man and woman, and the sanction of a priest to live for aye in harmony and love. No priest nor officer has power from God to bind two souls in wedded love. No priest nor officer has power from God to bind two souls in wedded love. And that's why I don't believe in, marriage right there. Because these systems of control, these governments, these hierarchies with priests and preachers and bishops and all of this, they don't speak for God. They speak for a system that claims to worship God or represent God. They don't actually represent God. And no man has the right to bind two souls together. That's God's doing alone. So, it always boils down to us respecting, free will. And just say that, you found somebody that you wanted to marry or whatever, and you're trying to follow something like this. Well, instead of going to like a courthouse or something like that to get married, he's saying, it's a matter of the heart. Right? That's what determines marriage. That's what determines love. The keys. Yeah, I about fell asleep listening to the Aquarian Gospels. I'll pull it up and see who wrote it. It's just a guy, like an anonymous guy. He's got one name, I think, so you won't know who he is. Here we go. But I think he's definitely Luciferian. Here we go. The Aquarian Gospels of Jesus Christ is a book by Levi Dowling. First published on the 1st of December 1908. Dowling said he transcribed the text of the book from the Akashic Records, a purported compendium of mystical knowledge supposedly encoded in a non-physical plane of existence. So there you have it. Levi Dowling. Levi Dowling. Let's see. Levi. Let's take a look here. I wonder what else Levi Dowling has done. The Aquarian Gospels of Jesus Christ. Born in Bellevue, Ohio. Scottish of Welsh descent. Pioneer preacher among the disciples of Christ. At the age of 13, in his first public debate, he took the negative side against the Presbyterian elder, the everlasting punishment of the wicked. Levi began preaching at the age of 16, and at the age of 18 was a pastor of a small church. He entered the United States Army at the age of 20 as a chaplain and served in the capacity to the end of the Civil War. In 1866, Northwestern Christian University, Indianapolis, Indiana. The next year, he began publishing Sunday school literature. Wow. And papers, songbooks. Even as a child, he was impressed with the sensitiveness of the finer ethers, and believed in some manner there were sensitized plates which sounds, even thoughts, were recorded. He studied etheric vibration, determined to solve the great mysteries of the heavens for himself. 40 years he spent in study and silent meditation. Even as a child, he's impressed with the sensitiveness of the finer ethers and believed that in some manner they were sensitized plates on which sounds, even thoughts, were recorded. Yeah, this is how he supposedly did it. Through vibrations from the ether, using plates to, emanate sounds and shit, because everything is, light and sound, electromagnetic energy. I actually watched a video where another guy had a plate and he was like channeling some type of spiritual energy. And you see how it's philosophic in the Aquarius stuff. It's because all of this stuff is about liberty and Lucifer and all of it. Every bit of it is, occult knowledge dressed up as Jesus. And notice all through it, Jesus is going through these different initiations or these different rites to become part of the brotherhood, right? So they're basically saying that Jesus was indoctrinated into the mysteries, right? And that's why he is who he is. And if you think about it, you read through this, he was sent off at like 9 years old to go learn across the world and was taken into Buddhist temples and Taoist and all this, and even almost got killed and, swatted in some of them for his beliefs and for the way that he seen things differently. But I'm gonna wrap this one up, guys. I'm extremely tired. I stayed up really late last night and got a late start on this one. I do appreciate you guys very much. I am going to Gospel of Mary. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. If you would, thank you. I apologize. I'm just tired as hell, guys. I'll bring you something better tomorrow night. I won't be so out of it, but kids and Christmas and all of that. So got up real early, stayed up really late. If you guys want to hook a brother up with a late Christmas present, donate and support to the channel. We're approaching the end of the month here, and we're viewer powered, and that's how I get the job done. That's how I'm able to do the stuff I do, and just, everything that we do, the communities and all of that. So if you get something from it, please consider giving back to it. It's very, very helpful, and it's also how I make my living, right? So it's my livelihood, and I imagine after Christmas, not a lot of people are going to be supporting, so I may have to figure out a new livelihood, But anyways, please donate, support. Links are in the description: PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, Facebook Messenger. And subscribe, follow, hit that like button for me. If you're in the chat, you catch it on the flip side. Make sure to hit the like. And please leave a comment as soon as this is over. I would definitely appreciate that. And share this link and get it out there for me. Everybody have a really beautiful night, man. I'm really sorry. Just tired, guys. Just tired. I wish I would have done a better video for you. But if you get something from this, man, spread the word so other people can watch it and see it. And consider helping me out by, giving. Every little bit counts. Alright, remember, Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. God bless you all. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Peace.
The number you have dialed is not available at present.